If the photos on your listing looks like it was taken in 2007 on a flip phone in the middle of the night with no lighting, then don't be surprised that nobody wants to buy your home. Today, I'm going to go over all of my advice to those of you who are looking to sell your home on your own when in terms of finalizing your listing, making sure they look pretty enough so that buyers will actually click on your listing and reach out to you. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Kai, a licensed real estate agent based here in Katy, Texas, and it's my goal to ensure that you are educated enough so that the real estate process is smooth and efficient, whether you're working with an agent or doing everything on your own. So why are photos and video so important to a listing? Kind of stating the obvious here, but obviously, if you got bad photos, no one's going to click on your listing. If nobody clicks on your listing, you're not going to get any showings. You don't get any showings means you're not going to make any sales, which means your house is not going to sell and just going to stay on market for a very long time until you reduce the price or eventually work with an agent or willing to actually update those photos and videos. Buyers judge fast. On websites such as Zillow, Redfin, there are hundreds of listings that they can browse through, just like a social media feed. So to get their attention, you have got to have good photos. So what should you do to ensure that a listing has the right photos, the video, and description so that your listing stands out from the crowd and more people are willing to click on it and reach out to you as a potential buyer? Well, let's start with the photos. What do good agents do when they work with a seller? Well, they hire a professional photographer and videographer to market your property. That means they pay somebody to come take professional photos. Those photos gets edited and then sent back to the agent, which the agent then puts on the MLS, which distributes out to all the other platforms. And this is what I recommend you do as well. Yes, I know when we do everything ourselves, one of the main reasons we do this is that we want to save money. Fair enough. However, there are some key areas where it's worth spending the extra amount of money, especially when it comes to photos, because this is exactly what is going to get people to look at your listing and come look at your home. Now, real estate photographers cost anywhere from a few $100s, $200 to $300, all the way up to $500, $1,000. You don't necessarily have to go with the most expensive, but it's important that you shop around, find one who has a good portfolio that you like the look and feel of, and it's within a price range you can accept. Remember, when we're dealing with prices and numbers here, like the previous episode, it doesn't have to be a number you love. It just has to be a number that you can live with. And results are everything. So a $500 package that gets you amazing photos is better than a $200 package that's taken on an iPhone 15 unedited. And if you're into photography yourself, you say, I have the equipment, I have the knowledge, I have the editing skills to do this on myself. I know how to blend the photos. I can do 3 or 5 stops. If you know what that means, then you're probably gonna be okay. If you don't know what I just said, the 3, the what, the 5, the what, you should hire somebody. But if you can do all that, there are also things you gotta consider before you take those pictures and those videos, and that's to stage your house. If you no longer live in the house and the house is empty, that's much easier. You hire a cleaner or you clean yourself. This is one of those cases where you can either or. In terms of cleaning, if you are good at cleaning, you should just do it yourself. Again, we're trying to save money here, so things that you can do well yourself, you should definitely do it yourself to save money. But remember, every single time you save money, you're sacrificing your time. I'm going to reiterate this every single time that we speak about doing things yourself. You're paying an agent not for their special expertise, knowledge like a rocket scientist. No, you're paying an agent because the agent will do all of this time-consuming things that you probably don't want to do yourself. Same with paying for a photographer. If you can do it really well, you don't have to hire one. You can spend the hours it takes to shoot and edit those photos and videos yourself. If you are good at cleaning, now let's be honest with yourself here, okay? If you're good at cleaning, then you can go and clean your house so that it is presentable and neat and clean. If you still live in the house, you gotta declutter, all right? Nobody wants to see your doll collection, your collection of antique clocks. I don't care if they're worth $100,000. Nobody cares. They don't want it. They don't want to see it. Declutter. You want to make your home as empty as possible so that when people come and view your home or they see the pictures of your home, they can use their imagination to see what it's like for them to live in there. So some nice pieces of furniture is better. The closer the furniture looks to an IKEA showroom, the better, because they're modern, they're minimalistic, and they're sleek, which fits well when you're staging a home. If you have different taste in modern, as most of us do, it's better to minimize the amount of things that appear in the photos and video. All right, put them in a closet, put them in the garage, somewhere that's not going to get a lot of traction. And then take your photos and take your videos. You want to maximize natural light, right? So when you take photos and videos, don't have to turn on all of your lights like some people online suggest. It depends on your home, how much lighting you get. You've got big bay windows, open them up. Let that light come in, fill the room. When you take those photos yourself, or when a photographer comes, then you don't have to worry about it. They'll set everything up. But if you're doing it yourself, open up all the windows. You can turn the lights if you want, especially if you're going to be doing some editing. So in post, a lot of these things could be color corrected, so it's not a huge deal. Again, if you don't know what I just said, you need to hire a photographer. I cannot stress this enough. Don't try to wing it, all right? This is very important here. Now, if you're going to do the videography stuff, you'll shoot it in 4K. And if you can, I recommend not to use a wide angle lens. I recommend using a lens with enough field of view so when you shoot the video, it has a nice flow and people can see the layout of the room. And the reason I don't recommend wide angle lenses, I don't even recommend it for photos, to be honest with you, is because most of our homes are relatively boxy. That means on the edge of your photos and video, if you use a wide angle lens, especially the very, very wide angle ones, you're going to see a lot of distortions. Now your straight lines and walls and ceilings starts curving, and that does not look good at all. It looks good when you're shooting on a GoPro, you're doing action shots. When it comes to real estate, you want things to be straight and perfectly angled. All right, keep that in mind. Another thing when you're shooting is you want to keep things level. I'm sure you have seen listings out there, and if you haven't, just take 10 minutes, go on Zillow, look through some listings. You're going to see at least one. Well, the photo is obviously crooked, and the way you tell is that you see the straight lines. On the right hand, it looks like the ceiling is lower, and the left hand looks like it's higher. Most of the time, the room is not crooked. It just means whoever's taking a picture, most likely on a cell phone, is a little bit tilted. Over a long distance, such as across the room, that slight tilt makes a big difference in lining up the shot. Use a tripod if you can, and if you don't want to use a tripod, you have a gimbal, use a gimbal and make sure everything is leveled. When in doubt, use a tripod. It's just so much easier. Now, when you're shooting these pictures, you don't want to overwhelm the audience with too many photos. I've seen listings with 60 plus photos. My goodness, who has the time to scroll through 60 photos for a 4-bedroom house? Let's be honest here, okay? 20 to 30 photos, in my opinion, is the sweet spot. And you want to have key focused areas. So what are the key focus areas? It's the common rooms, the kitchen, the living room. If you have a family room, that's a good place. All of the common living spaces, that's what you want to focus on. And what you're doing is showcasing the space, any type of amenities. You have nice kitchen counters, kitchen cabinets. You want to showcase that. Showcase the room, make it look wide. Rule of thumb, you want to have at least 2 walls worth in your shot, right? Some people use 3. Depending on your room's layout, you can play around with this a little bit. 3 walls might make the shot actually make the room look smaller. So when in doubt, I recommend having 2 walls in the photo, and you take multiple photos from different angles so you showcase the entire room. And when you're shooting the photos, also think about the flow of the house. You don't want to jump in across the different areas from random corners to random corner. And once you post it, nobody is going to know which room is connected with which room is closer to the front door, which one's in the back of the house. You want to make sure that everything kind of flows. All right. For bedroom to bathrooms, 1 photo each is usually enough. For master bedrooms, a little bit more, maybe 2 or 3. But for your living spaces, pay more attention to those, because those are the selling points of your house. Unless your bedroom is, but then I'm not sure you want to advertise that. Now, this is optional, but it's becoming more and more important to have video along with your listing. So if you know how to shoot and edit videos, then this is what you want to do. You want to do a very basic walkthrough video that shows the flow of the house, the layout, and a general idea of the size of the rooms and the overall property. What you don't want to do is shoot a commercial. All right, you don't need to shoot a commercial for your home. To be honest, there are certain things some agents do for the benefit of the seller and sometimes for themselves in terms of being able to make you feel good about your own property, where it looks like a fancy commercial. Wow, the storytelling, it's amazing. Most buyers don't really care too much about that, all right? So make sure you get the basics, the flow of the house, a nice steady walkthrough. Don't walk too slowly. Nobody wants to watch a 10-minute walkthrough video of a 4-bedroom house that's 1,700 square foot. All right, let's just be honest here, all right? 30 seconds to a minute, maybe a minute and a half. Nice steady walkthrough, showcasing the flow of the house. Do like a loop around it from the front door so there's no disconnect. And you can post that video on YouTube, and you can post that YouTube link onto your listing once you're ready to finalize your listing and let it go live. Having video is going to be very important. A lot of people prefer video than pictures, and you want to make sure you capture as much attention as you can towards your listing. Now, finally, the description of the listing. Do not write in your description 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square foot, 8,000 square foot lot next to good schools. And the reason I say this is you do kind of have to think about who reads descriptions. It's usually not men. Men will look at your pictures, your video, and then they're going to have immediate questions that has nothing to do with those pictures or videos. They want to know about the age of the roof, age of your HVAC system, and the age of your water heater. They care about the mechanical stuff, the foundation, the roof, the walls, the paint, all of that stuff. A lot of women likes to read the description and photo captions. So you want to make a little story. Talk about the feeling the home gets, some of the best features and why they're the best features of the home. And within the description, you want to capture the factual stuff of the 4-bedroom, the 2-bath, the square footage, the size of the lot with a nice backyard and a swing set, etc., etc. Things like covered patio is perfect for hosting those family get-togethers or hosting play dates. Whatever it is, you want to think through this, put some time and effort into that description. Every single photo that you take should have a similar caption on it, no more than 1 or 2 sentences. Keep the caption short, obviously, but it should not be a picture and a caption that says kitchen. Put a little bit of emotion into that. If you need some help, ask some of your friends that's really good at this stuff to help you out. Again, this is one of the things that agents do well that you have to take on yourself if you don't want to hire an agent. After you're done with all of that, proofread everything, look through your photos and videos, ask other people, your family and friends, to go through them, to read it, to look through them, and give you some feedback. You want to make sure all of these things are on point before you set your listing live, because once it's live, there's no going back. So there you have it. This one was a long one because even though there's not a lot of things to actually do, every single thing in this episode is going to be very, very important to make sure your listing stands out and make sure that you get the proper views and reach necessary to generate those potential buyers so they'll come and view your house and give you multiple offers. On the next episode, I'm going to talk to you all about what happens right after the listing goes live. All of the things you should be expecting. That most sellers extremely underestimate the amount of work involved. And this area is actually where most good agents get their money's worth, to be honest. So stay tuned. We'll see you next time. We're going to go over what to expect after your listing is live.